Oops.
Oh no.
Should we?
Hey, come here. Come on, I'm here. Come on. Come on. Go get it. Go. Come on.
Maybe-
There you have 20
Okay.
seconds.
Okay, let's do this. 3, 2,
Yeah.
1. Come on. Welcome to Unfiltered Espresso, the podcast where we ditch the textbooks and chase adventures with incredible people. I'm your host, Seher Sharma, and today I'm thrilled to chat with an entrepreneur who's redefined the pet industry in India. The founder of Heads Up for Tails, Rashi Narang. Rashi's journey from a devoted pet parent to an industry leader is inspiring, and we're excited to delve into her story from her passion-driven beginnings to her ongoing impact. Rashi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me here, Seher. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
So today with us, we have Max over here. Yeah.
And Tara's right there.
Okay, so they can all stay here for a while. So they're just gonna be here for a couple of seconds and then they will have to leave us. So I could Google Heads Up for Tails and pretend I'm an expert, but let's be honest, you'll do a much better job. So could you give us a brief rundown on what Heads Up for Tails is all about and what it is exactly that you guys do?
Yes, absolutely. So at Heads Up for Tails, we basically create and curate products and services to bring joy to pets and their families. But our larger vision and mission is really to help people connect to the magic that pets bring into our lives. We've seen thousands of stories when people have opened their hearts to these beautiful animals and they become more empathetic, more compassionate, more kind. And I really believe that pets can help us become better people. And this is what we want to take out to the world through education, through awareness, by creating, good quality products and services that help our pets lead the best life, and also do a lot of work around the community animals, our street dogs and cats, who are not always understood. And I really believe that they deserve so much better than they currently get. So that's what we're trying to do at Haft.
Yeah, and outside every pet stores I've seen, there's always dogs there and they're always being taken care of. There's always a bed kept there. So I think that's also pretty great. And is that something you guys are looking to expand into, helping more of the street dogs?
Absolutely, absolutely, Seher. So we have a Heads Up for Tails Foundation, and through that, we do a lot of different programs and drives, including feeding, reflective collars so that they can be seen at night. Even things like water bowls. If you're walking around, I wonder where would they get access to fresh water from? Like it would only be dirty puddles, if at all, which is also rare in the summer months. So things like that, and using our stores for giving them shelter as in when we can. Plus, also using it as a platform for rescue, adoption, whatever little bit that we can do.
So, when you first envisioned Heads Up for Tails, the pet industry in India was virtually an uncharted territory. What were the initial reactions from people around you? Because, especially when you were first starting out, I think the first thing that came to mind when you think of pet industry is something like pedigree, and you had a degree as well. So, I'm curious, did you receive any auntie comments, eyebrow raises, any sort of skepticism starting off, something like that?
So much of it, like a lot. In fact, that's mostly what I received. The industry didn't really exist, so people couldn't quite understand what I was going after. Pet stores were very basic, and there really wasn't much product available, or supply chain, or vendors, or experience. And people were like, wondering why after a degree, when I could get a great job, I was pursuing something that didn't really show much scope in the country. But I think it also came from a good space of concern to say, hey, you can do better. Why this? And so I appreciate the concern, but there were a couple of cheerleaders, close friends, family who understood, and people who were in the same boat as me, as in, pet parents who couldn't find products for their pets. And I think they were a handful of them who really understood the vision and cheered me on massively.
So I've always wanted to know from you, what's the story behind Sarah? Because I think you started off because of her, right? So
Yes.
what is the story behind Sarah?
I've grown up with dogs, Seher, so I've always had dogs ever since I was born in the house. But I lived in a big joint family and our pets were shared responsibility. But after I got married, Sarah was the first dog that I got into my in-laws' home, where I was the primary caretaker versus, larger family where I was always the child of the family. and not really making key decisions. And so for the first time, I was really the pet parent. And that's when I realized that there was such a huge gap in the market. And so it was Sarah's birthday one day when I went to look for a present and I came home empty handed. And I think that was that day when I realized that there must be other people like me who would want more for their furry family members. And that's how Huff started. So Sarah really inspired all of it. And she inspired not just the beginning of it, but also the creation of many, many products. She was
Yeah.
a puppy at that time. And I realized nobody's even thinking of like life stages. No one is thinking, what does a puppy need versus an adult dog versus a senior dog? And so she is really my inspiration and continues to be so. And she's no longer with me, but she is.
Yeah. That's a nice story. What's the funniest or quirkiest customer feedback you've ever received? Anything you can share?
Actually, a lot of the feedback that we received was helpful to create products. So, for example, there were no avenues to sell earlier on. And so we take part in like, festive pop-up exhibitions, wedding exhibitions, and there were like just fun comments like, oh, how come a pet stall is here? What are you going to add to my trousseau? And that's when we were like, hey, but why not? You're going to take gifts for the whole family. And what about the pet of that family? And what about your wedding? And why is your pet not part of this very special occasion? So it helped us to create a lot of India first category defining products like wedding collections and Diwali collections and even like things like Diwali laddus and kaju katlis and treats and so many things were started by us only because we were in these different to normal areas that we should have been. I don't think people necessarily give you feedback of what they exactly want, but by talking to people about generally their day or their relationship, you can get a lot of insight. So, for example, I remember a customer saying, my dog's ears are very long, and whenever she drinks her food, drinks drinks water or eats her food, I have to actually tie her ears up in a rubber band because they get dirty. And that helped us to develop a bowl that was raised, elevated, smaller at the top so that the ears could be out. So I think that talking to customers can really help you to get a lot of feedback and insights that can facilitate quick product development that you may not already sort of have thought of.
Okay, so entrepreneurship can sometimes feel like a solo journey. How did you handle those that didn't quite understand your vision? Did you have a support system? How was that?
Entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. I guess you have to find that network of friends and family and others that can help you out and sort of help you through difficult days. That network is normally a small circle, a small inner circle. For me, honestly, it was Sarah, and it has always been my dogs that I have gone to on difficult days, and they sort of inspire me to bounce back every time I have stumbled or fallen. And they are my biggest inspiration. But I'm also very grateful to so many friends and family who have always been there through the tough times.
Do you take your pets on vacations?
I have a few times. So we've been to the mountains a couple of times, and that's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Oh my God. Okay. And how do you celebrate your pets' birthdays?
Well, it's a special day for them. I have an 11-year-old daughter who's also they are her siblings and she loves them so much. So we normally prepare a special breakfast, a special lunch, and a special dinner, and there's cake cutting and presents. And so yes, we do all that we can to make them feel super special.
Yeah, we've done the same. So we had a dog before, but Max, who just came,
Yeah.
he's just 3. So he's a little COVID baby. So
Yeah.
he's crazy pampered. He has this giant toy box, and
So
it's just a lot of fun. His birthdays
yeah,
especially.
it is for sure. And they also know something is going on or it's different
Yeah.
today, right?
And to see him opening gifts, scratching it, trying to open all
Oh,
the gifts, it's so much fun. I've just always been curious. Pet treats, dogs are obsessed with them. So have you ever tasted your pet treats just to see what all the excitement is about?
of course, absolutely.
Really?
So we our facilities and our ingredients and our products are all human grade, made from the best that we can source. All of it is clean and trustworthy, and yes, we taste them all the time. So
Oh, that's something new. I did not know that.
yeah. taste them and tell me what you think. I mean, listen, of
I will
course,
do
they're
that.
made for dogs and they do
Yeah.
not contain sugar and salt and so they're not made for the human palate, but they're all human grade.
Do you have a favorite?
That's very hard because they're all like, you know, they're all created for different purposes. I think what I use the most with my dogs are the yakis. I don't know if you've ever tried them with Max, but they're these chew bones and they're a great alternative to the rawhide white bones that you get in the market because
Yeah.
they're very synthetic and have a lot of chemicals. So this is an all natural product. My dogs love chewing on it. It helps them calm down. It's great for dental health, and it's just an all completely, natural. That's what I like about it.
Okay. So, switching gears a little bit, since we're all in high school, I'd love to know about your school life in brief, like the subjects, the kind of student you were, and any other fun memories you'd like to share.
Okay. My school years were my best years. I had a lot of fun. I was always drawn to animals ever since I was little. So even then, I was the same person with the same interests. And I did commerce in high school. I was always very entrepreneurial. I always wanted to do different things. I really just genuinely have the best, warmest, happiest memories of just lots of fun, great friendships, lots of laughs, lots of just things that we all did together.
Everyone says that about high school, best years. Like every adult I meet at least,
It's
says that about high school.
very special.
So, any memories that you remember you'd like to share?
So many. All the teachers that we troubled, all the classes that we bunked, all the, all our teachers' unique personalities and how they brought us together. And also just all the things that we did. Like there are so many, all the things we laughed about and all the jokes that we cracked and so many special memories.
Do you remember your first job
Yes, very much.
and what was
Um,
it?
my first job was in a phone store in the
Oh,
UK. I went to study, and as being a student there, we all used to get part-time jobs on the side. So I was a sales assistant at a phone store trying to sell phone connections. To
oh.
mostly students, it was a very student town that I was in. I was terrible at sales, so it was quite out of my comfort zone, but it was a great experience to learn.
What was your favorite job before starting Heads Up for Kids? Did you have more jobs? You probably did, right?
I had a couple of these temporary jobs. But I started Heads Up Kids very early on. I was in a lot of these student jobs, and then I started working at a multinational bank in London. That's where I studied. But very soon after, I got married and I moved countries, and then I started Huft. So I haven't really worked in a lot of other places.
That's good also, starting off early.
Yes, I mean, it's both pros and cons, because I feel like I was so young and I had such little experience versus the confidence, the connections, the learning that you have had on a job, all the skills that you learn. I mean, there's a lot that comes with experience, but I started very, very young and I've pretty much learned everything that I have at Hub.
You had an amazing journey through the London School of Economics, which isn't easy at all. What was the process like getting accepted there? And looking back, what were some key takeaways from your time at LSE? Did you ever find yourself thinking, what did I get myself into throughout your journey, or any of those kind of thoughts?
The process was fairly intense. All admission processes are mostly. And I was very excited when I got accepted. I was also a little bit nervous about, London, which is a very big city. I think overall I was excited. There's a lot to learn when you are in experiences like that. So while it's a lot of fun, you're living with friends, you are suddenly also responsible for everything in your life, right? Whether it's managing your home, your studies, your chores, your budgets, and your finances, the discipline that comes, the pressure that comes with any academic institution, and the expectations. I think it teaches you to be disciplined, to be organized, to overcome a lot of these challenges, to manage your own struggles yourself and come out on the other side, whether it's people challenges, friends that you're living with, assignments or subjects that you can't quite make sense of. Right, all of these things are big challenges at that time in the journey, and overcoming all of them just helps you get more confident. It helps you get stronger, wiser, braver in so many ways. So I think
How,
that's the biggest takeaways more than the actual academics.
what was your major in college?
I did business when I was in undergrad, and then I did HR when I was doing my master's at LSE.
Okay. So, returning from a prestigious place like LSE to start a business here is a huge transition. Was coming back to India always part of the plan, or?
Actually, it wasn't, not so quickly, but it all happened very quickly because I got married fairly soon after I finished my postgrad. It definitely was a transition in terms of the mind space that I was in, or even what I wanted to do. I had just started a new job, and everything just happened very fast. But now, when I look back, I couldn't have been more grateful for how it's all played out. And it was such a wide space in India, the whole pet sector, and it gave me a chance to really create my own path because there was no other path to follow or learn from. And while that takes time and it takes a lot of grit and perseverance and patience to sort of make your own path, it's at least it's yours, and there's so
Yeah.
much that you grow through that.
How long were you in London for before coming back? Just for college, or were you
I was,
there?
yeah, I was just there for about 2 years.
Oh, okay. The pet care world is evolving fast. How do you stay ahead of the trends and keep your products exciting for such a diverse range of pet owners? Is there a strategy in place or just a lot of trial and error or customer feedback, as you mentioned?
We try to stay very close to our customers. That's an important lesson that I've learned in business. We have a lot of conversations. We spend a lot of time at the stores. And also, a lot of our team members are experts within their fields. We spend a lot of time learning about what's going on, what are the new global studies and trends and research that's coming out across, behavior, nutrition, training. How is the space evolving? So we keep track of a lot of that, and of course use customers and their conversations, their feedback as the main foundation of it all.
I've seen in your stores you guys have what is it called? Pet wagging officers or something like that inside your stores. So maybe talk about that a little bit.
We have them at our office as well. So we have so many community dogs and cats that have adopted our stores, our offices, our warehouses, and they bring so many smiles to all of us every day. Right? They're constantly wagging tails. They
Chief
make us
wagging officer. I got the name. Yeah, I just remember.
so they're very, very sweet, all of them, and they just really bring a lot of positivity and cheer to every day.
What's your favorite pet?
Oh gosh, Seher, that is a very good question. I think it would be dogs, but in the last 7, 8 years, I've really grown to love and admire cats as well. So
Okay.
they are actually such fascinating and such amazing creatures, and I hope that I can bring one home as a pet really soon.
Have you had any other pets in the middle or just cats and dogs?
Just cats and dogs. Yeah.
Okay. Any wild product ideas you'd love to create, even if they're a bit outrageous? Any ideas you have?
Hmm. Um, a
Something
couple.
completely bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to create, not bizarre, when I think about a pet parent's journey, I'd love to create something that can make poop evaporate, you know? Because even if they're using the garden to do so, the grass burns, right? It's
That
always a
makes sense.
issue. So, so
A
yes,
lot
so
of
that,
people have problems with it as well, like around the community in a neighborhood.
yes, exactly.
So
Right. So with parks and people don't clean up after their pets. So I wish there was some little sprinkle that could just make it vanish. So
I
yeah,
think someone should, yeah, maybe you guys should work on that,
yeah,
something.
I hope so.
That's a really good one, actually. Sustainability is huge right now. How do you balance the demand for eco-friendly products with expanding your product lines? Because in today's day and age, I think keeping both the customers and the planet happy at the same time is really essential. So how do you
Yeah,
manage that?
yeah. No, I think that there is no other planet there. It's only one, right? We have no planet B. There is no plan B also. And I think that all of us have to be mindful of our choices. We are still trying to find solutions across some things like food preservation, where like paper or recycled materials don't always work. You need sometimes, something like plastic that can preserve food, but it can be recycled, but not always biodegradable, etc. But in other ways, wherever we can, like for example, in our beds, we use recycled plastic bottles that are then woven into polyfill. We made a range of toys that was made with completely recycled fabrics. That was respun from like old sweaters and other things. So wherever we get a chance, this is just something that we all have to do. We invested in a machine in our warehouse which shreds all the cartons, extra cartons, papers, everything, so that we can use that instead of bubble wrap. So wherever we can, we're trying to see what are the small steps that we can take that can just positively impact the whole sustainability angle, because I think it's everybody's responsibility.
Yeah. I think you're right. We do have one planet, might as well take care of it, right?
Yeah.
So, let's go back to the start again. How did you initially get funding for Heads Up for Tales? How did you start off your first store, and how did that impact the entire process?
We were bootstrapped for a long time. So we started off really small. I had a small saving from my job. I literally started with that. We built it up very slowly. Our first investors came in 8 years after I started, and they were also just angel investors. So it was a small amount of money. And then slowly we built from there. And then 2021, we got institutional investors. So I think it's very important to be bootstrapped and to really build a sustainable business that can survive on its own. You learn to do a lot more with less. I think it's a extremely important foundation for every business to lay before they raise funds.
Was there any specific moment where you were like, okay, I think this can actually become something? Was there any moment in the journey like that?
I always knew that from day one, despite very few believers. In fact, when I had a small collection ready, I took it to all the pet stores that I couldn't find anything for with Sarah. And then way beyond that, but none of them wanted to keep the merchandise. I took it to 200 pet stores, and all of them were like, "This is not going to sell. Who the hell are you? What is it that you're making?" And I always knew that, listen, if I'm coming from a space of being a pet parent, it can't be that this can't work. And I've always had really big dreams for it, but I've never been able to put any value around that ambition. And I don't want to either. I don't want to limit it to say, this is how big I'll make it. I want it to be as big as it can possibly be. And not just from a business impact, but also just a positive impact on every one of the stakeholders, helping pet parents become better by knowing more, helping create the best products that we can, helping our team members and really doing the best we can for each of them, helping our customers, like helping community animals, like every one of our stakeholders, what can we do to positively impact them every single day? And I don't want to put any limits to that.
For students looking to study abroad, how do you recommend they use their experiences to fuel their entrepreneurial dreams or anything else they might want to do, especially when they're coming back to a different environment, like you came back to India? So,
Yeah. I think that when you are, working, studying abroad, try to do as many things as you can, whether it's like different activities, different clubs, interacting with different people, taking up lots of part-time jobs, all of this. I mean, just I think everybody can teach us something, and we can learn something from everyone, from every experience. So even though those were like simple, small student jobs, there's so much that I learned from each of them. And the more we do, the more we can learn. It's such a great experience to be abroad, to figure so much stuff out on your own, and all of that helps you in your entrepreneurial journey. It's just about how, if you're mindful about it, if you look to learn some of these lessons and just take away the most that you can, because there is a lot that it offers.
also going from school to college, how was that transition? Because especially you moved away from your family probably. So, how was that transition like? And how did you get into London School of Economics? I think that's what we're all dying to know over here. How was
So
that?
for my undergrad, I went to Cardiff University, and for my masters, I went to LSE. And I think if you really write a strong statement of purpose, what is it that you want to do? Why do you want to go? And if you can demonstrate that, you're there to really make the most of it. And if you're mindful about your journey, about the experiences that you're collecting even today in school, about the things that you're doing, about the difference that you want to make, every educational institution will be happy to have you. And I think that they just want to see how they can add value to your life and how you can add value to that institution. So, yeah, I think just being a little bit more mindful and saying that, sharing what you want to do in the world, it makes a big difference.
Okay, so if you could sit down with your younger self, either back at college or at the start of starting Heads Up or Tails, I think that's the same, right? What advice would you give your younger self?
I would probably tell myself not to fear the difficult situations, not to fear the obstacles, because all of them are opportunities in disguise. And they all come to serve us, to grow us. But it's scary when you don't know that and you constantly have difficult situations to deal with.
Was there any pivotal moment that completely changed your perspective? Did you have any moments like that?
I think it wasn't once ahead, but it's been a series of very difficult years, very difficult situations, business wise. We've tried so many different things. When you're trying to carve out a landscape and create a category in the country, it takes a long time and you will make lots of mistakes, you will succeed sometimes. And, I think it's just been so many challenges that we have tried to overcome that at some point, you have no choice but to really reflect and understand what is going on. And now I really see, I have a very different perspective to what I did many years ago, where a lot of these constant challenges would really stress me out versus now just my ability to be able to deal with them, to say, okay, listen, what's the opportunity in this, right? Why is it coming? What can we do about it? And how can we learn from it and grow from it? It makes just reframing your perspective makes all the difference.
So even for high schoolers, we also face quite a few challenges, especially in our high school years. So how did you deal with challenges in high school and how, like any advice you'd like to give?
I think keep your heart open and learn from everyone's ahead. And remember that everyone has come to teach you something.
So we're gonna do a quick rapid fire round, or as we like to call it here, the instant brew round.
Okay.
So I'll do 3, 2, 1, and then we'll begin.
Sure.
3, 2, 1. One book every aspiring entrepreneur should read.
The Everyday Hero Manifesto by Robin Sharma. It's more personal lessons and business lessons, but I think for an entrepreneur, you need to be strong for your business to be strong.
Your absolute favorite Heads Up for Tails product.
Yeah, please.
Cats or dogs?
Oh no, I can't answer this. I just can't.
50-50, let's keep it there.
Okay.
One word that describes your energy when working on a new product.
Highly elevated.
Favorite holiday spot.
Mountains.
Describe Heads Up for Tails in 3 words.
Joy, compassion, love.
The most used app on your phone.
Spotify.
Oh, what kind of music do you like?
Oh, so much, right? From pop to indie pop to Sufi to, it's way too much music. I
What
love
was
so
the last concert you've gone to?
Coldplay.
Oh,
Taylor Swift.
actually, oh my God, you've been to quite a few.
Yeah.
How was the Coldplay one? I've always wanted to go.
It's amazing. I mean, what I love about concerts is that they bring people together like nothing else. Because even in sports, you are divided and you are competitive, and it is one versus the other. But in concerts and music, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what you do. I mean, it just brings people together in the most amazing way. I love concerts.
It's so much fun. I wanted to go for the Coldplay one, but unfortunately, it's around boat time, so cannot go for that.
Hopefully, someday soon.
Hopefully. The best piece of advice you've received.
Ooh, don't take yourself so seriously. Maybe not when I'm in high school. I think that time you have to take yourself a bit more seriously. But I think as you go along, or maybe even not, like we get so serious about everything, about all the
Loosen
small
up.
things, all the big things. Let's just move through life a little bit more lightly and have more fun.
The next big goal on your career list.
I want to take Huff to more new countries.
Your favorite dog breed?
Indies.
I don't know much about cats, so I'm going to ask about cats as well. But is that cat breeds, right? What's your favorite cat breed?
I love our desi cats and dogs. They are extremely smart, resilient, intelligent, and they're just awesome.
Have you ever had any encounter with a street dog that's been memorable?
So many. Wherever I go, I make a friend. And I think that that is so cool because instead of, a lot of people are like, oh, this is a nuisance and this is so scary. And I'm like, no, wait, it's a friend in every corner of the city. If you know how to talk to them, interact with them, I can have a conversation with all dogs that I meet on the street.
How many pets do you have right now?
I have two. So Poppins, who's an indie, and Misara, who's my little golden retriever. But I have lots of indies in the office and across our stores and warehouses, both dogs and cats, and all of them are super special.
So we talked about chief wagging officers. I saw something online. Are there more titles in your guys' offices, like chief wagging officer? And how do they get that title? Like, is there a specific?
We're constantly wagging their tail and they make us smile. They deserve that title.
Fair enough. How many are there in each office?
Depends, but I think overall across our stores, warehouses, and offices, we have over 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna end it over here. This has been such an inspiring conversation. Your journey from starting Heads Off for Tails in a niche market to growing it into a beloved brand is remarkable. Thank you for sharing your story and insights with us today.
Thank you so much, Seher. Thanks a lot for having me here.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in into this episode of Unfiltered Espresso. We hope Rashi's story encourages you to chase your passion, no matter what the obstacles. Until next time, keep exploring and remember, there's always an adventure waiting for you if you're willing to jump in. Take care. Bye.